hit them with some questions.
Okay, welcome and thanks for being here. Can you all tell us some recollections you have of how the coffee hut was laid out and the physical characteristics surrounding the hut?
And to start out though, can we have you introduce yourself really briefly? And
Sure. I'm Sam Corey, and I actually went here and graduated.
okay.
Did you pass the
With
language
honors,
requirement?
I think they referenced my ability to make a hamburger. Because I was, I think
Year?
Paul Solomon did that as I was going through with the
Year?
1970.
Okay.
Tom Hall, I was at College Dean, Revelle,
Oh, okay.
1967 to 72.
Okay.
Jim Picorni. I was here from 66 to 70 with Sam, and also somehow managed to graduate in 4 years in 1970 from Revelle College.
Wow.
And this was the place to hang out, right?
Right.
Yes, there wasn't much around here, remember? There was nothing built. There wasn't UTC. There was no place to get food. You had to go to downtown La Jolla or all the way to Del Mar.
And that was too expensive. This
Yeah.
place was reasonable. Hamburgers were 40 cents, fries were 40 cents, the milkshake was 20 cents. So for $1, true story, you could get a great meal.
Right. The only place you could come and have lunch with Harold Urey.
Nobel laureate, right?
Yeah.
How many people would show up for lunch here on the
Jam-packed one.
this
I
packed
remember
But when we had a lunch rush, there would be a
You
good
have to
line of
remember-
people.
Remember, at that time, there was no variable meal plans. You either ate in the cafeteria, went through the cafeteria line, or you went off campus or came down here. So a lot of faculty and students ate down here then.
I learned how to do a quadruple flip with a hammer. That's where it flips twice and lands on the other side. See? Things
It's
that
quite
I
an art. And
Still
he's-
use that and cooking eggs. Remember, you and I learned how to flip eggs every week.
Okay, I want to get a shot of Susan so she's not a disembodied voice here. But she's going to be asking if you go ahead and get that ball rolling with,
Okay, sure.
with
Sure. Let's see, Dean, you mentioned that this was the only place the students could come and have a hamburger with Harold Urey. And can you tell
Well,
me
it
more
wasn't,
about that?
you could do that, right. Well, you know, we're talking 50 years ago now, so,
Yeah.
but what I remember is the configuration was about the way you have it here.
Okay.
And many of the faculty and staff and some students came here to eat lunch because in a sense, I think the cafeterias weren't open. And there was nothing like the food court over at the Price Center.
There
So this was kind
Revelle
of the place.
cafeteria.
This
It was
was
just
the food
Revelle
court.
Yeah,
cafeteria,
right.
and that was
That's
it.
it. And Muir may have had something at that time, because the year I came was the year Muir opened the first year.
At Camp Matthews.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was the place to come.
And it had a fire pit that they built.
Yeah,
So you
And
could
what
come at
year-
night and
what
you'd sit
year
around
we
the
built that?
fireplace and
68, 69?
must have been 68, because I came down in August of 67, so it's the next year. But it was a community project. You know, Alan Blackstock, who's the business manager, and I'd come over, and Jim and Sam painted, scraped out places up there, put tables. I built flower boxes to hold the big plants they had. I think they surely have all rotted by now. But I think we had a Revelle student whose family owned a nursery out in La Mesa. They donated plants. So it's been a few of my free Saturdays over here.
Sure.
it was very
But it was
small.
fun.
Remember, Revelle was the only college branch, and I just went to Muir, but it was really small. There was the three dormitories, you know.
Yeah.
here. This was
Argo.
one of the main places you'd go to hang out. There wasn't like a bunch of other places.
Argo and Blake opened that year,
Mhm.
I
Right.
recall.
The vision, as I recall, was it was going to be 2,500 at the most per college, and there was going to be 12 colleges for a total of 30,000. We couldn't imagine that many people being at one place, and of course, that didn't pan out. Ultimately, but Revelle at the beginning, this was it. What you're looking at was it. This was the place to hang out. The fire pit got built so kids would come here in the evenings. The area that we're looking at behind the camera became a bit of a concert hall for performances. And it was just a popular place. And it was a great place to work, because you were cool if you worked at the coffee
Yeah,
hut.
Oh, so
Yeah.
how did the two of you come to work here? How did that even happen?
I'm gonna point to
Just
Sam, he got it
dumb luck.
first.
My parents had owned restaurants when I was a kid, you know, so I had a little bit of experience, and somehow I ingratiated myself with Holly Holmes.
Which is a whole nother story.
That's another story. He was a force to be reckoned with. He was this big guy, just sort of walling around, and he didn't want to be on his bad side. If he got mad, it was really scary, and his eyebrows would go up and stuff. And then we were talking about Nick Aquino. I guess he retired from the military, from the Navy, and then he comes working in it. I always thought it was sort of interesting that he found himself in the same sort of situation, because now he's got this chief above him, you know, giving him orders and stuff. It was, no, really, they had an interesting interaction with each other.
And so the two of you just showed up one day and tried to find a job, or how did you even know?
Oh
they
yeah,
were
we just
hiring?
needed extra money, so, and it was a perfect job on campus, obviously, because I was here. And it was socially nice, because you got to meet people, and you wielded a little bit of power, because you make their burgers extra special.
And Sam put in a good word for me, because I just met Sam, so I got the job here, but I didn't know anything about cooking.
Right.
So he taught me how to cook. That's where I learned everything. So you still hang out together 50 years later. Amazing.
That's true.
Well, I was kind of interested because I found an article that gave an advertisement in December 1967 for working at the
Oh, really?
Coffee Hut.
What? I
And
might have replied to that. I don't
wondered
know.
if that was how you all came to work here.
When it was $1.65 an hour, as I recall, too. And it went up to $1.81. I mean, incremental. You know, that's bucks. When you think about it, you can get a meal for $1. $1.61 isn't all that bad. $1.65.
No,
right?
I don't recall. Maybe it exists. I don't remember tips. I don't think students
No.
left a bunch of.
Are you kidding?
So you mentioned Harold Urey. Do you recall any other key figures that were associated with the site? We know there was the Urey Burger.
How about Angela Davis?
Not so much early on, was she?
No, she was later on, maybe 69 or 70.
My recollection is that this is not a political hot place
Yeah.
in 67 to 70 or so. It was just a place. And I forget, I think I'd gone over to academic affairs by the time it was taken over and turned into Shake Face.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't remember it being like a hot spot for.
No, it was just a
protest.
place
There'd
where
be someplace
everybody
people
came.
could play guitar or something in the
Right.
patio. And
Okay, so were any of you here opening when the Coffee Hut was open, January 3rd, 1967, and Sam Hinton played the guitar?
No, I wasn't.
that rings a bell. You know, my memory's foggy, but I was around that time.
What about musical activities? That you said they're playing guitar outside. What about inside? Were there concerts here or open mic nights?
Nothing big.
anything like that?
Open mics, I think, but not. They didn't have like big acts come out or anything where they paid them.
If there were a big act, for example, Iron Butterfly,
Yeah, they play in the
they
cafeteria.
played in the cafeteria at Revelle.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah,
a big hit, and that was a
yeah.
huge thing because they were here from San Diego. But no, this was like pickup type stuff.
Mhm.
Tom's right. It really wasn't what it is now. There wasn't any political sense, though there was a huge political sense in the late 60s in all campuses and
all
Revelle
over
College too.
Yeah.
And there were demonstrations and
They
the whole
usually in the
works.
plaza.
But this wasn't really part of it. This was a place to get something to eat and maybe listen to music, have the fire in the evening. That was really it, I think. And they
That's the
weren't
way I
open.
remembered it anyway.
Yeah, they weren't open for breakfast, so it was just lunch and dinner, and it was just a fun group. And the people that worked here, it was a very tight clique. It was a cool place to work.
So it was faculty and students kind of hanging out together?
Yeah, faculty ate here.
Yeah, a
They
lot,
hear
a lot
that.
of faculty.
They just come right down the hill
Yeah,
from Humanities
remember-
Library.
The campus, Revelle was the campus. There was nothing, what is it, north or west of the library?
Yeah, it was.
That was all eucalyptus growth. And you had Camp Matthews, all the old Army buildings, that part of the campus, and but Revelle was it. And since we had the Revelle Plaza, which is a designated free speech area, it was
And it was.
everything,
And it was.
everything happened there.
And you got to remember too that the very first class of the four-year college began in '64. So you and I were in the third.
Yeah, I just looked that up on the internet. I didn't realize.
So
that.
it was brand
UCSD started
brand
sooner than
new.
I thought.
Yeah,
But most of those are junior college trained, that first
Yeah.
couple classrooms.
yeah, but the first entering freshmen, as I understand it, were 64. And then we came in 66 and you were here at 67.
Yeah.
right?
So what were some of the typical things that would happen here? Was it open late for exams, for example? Do you have a memory of how late it was open?
I
Any
don't.
special events?
No, I think, what time did it close, Sam, like 10 o'clock at
Yeah.
night?
Maybe special occasion, I don't even remember its name.
No.
Yes,
The students were trying to pass calculus
Oh,
and learn a foreign language.
Please. It's called the language proficiency exam. It's the death knell for all the, thanks for reminding me. I was having fun until now.
That's true, if you got
What is he-
Revell, it was.
Revell was going to be Caltech South.
Yeah, it was all science
And
and,
it was really, really hard, so hard, in fact, I think they actually started changing some of the
Opened
math
up other
requirements. Yeah, that's right. In
transfer
the
out.
second semester, because they didn't, got a very bright class, but not the Caltech type, so.
So, Dean Hull, how did you come up with the idea of building the fire pit, and how did you connect with Jim about that? Do you remember?
I
about
don't know. We were just around.
Yeah, I think we were just, it was a weekend, and it was before Neil Armstrong made it to the moon. That was summer of '69. When he made it to the moon, there was already, I think it was '68, and I'm pretty sure it was a weekend.
Probably would.
And you said, can you help me with it? I said, sure. And he had gone out, this guy was a go-getter. He had bought the wood and built the walkway and the planters and the tables up here, and he showed up. Did you have a pickup truck then, or did you borrow one?
Well, Alan Blackstock had a pickup.
Business, yeah.
It was
So
one.
they had a pickup truck with a whole bunch of lava rock, and you got mortar, and we colored the mortar with this dye, and we just decided, okay, it's gonna be this big, and I'd never built a fire pit. Had you ever built one?
No, I don't know that a lot of this place would pass
Yeah,
the
code.
building code at the time. We just,
But how long did it last?
I was gonna say, when did they?
all the time.
when did
I
they do
didn't
that?
know it was gone, tell you the truth.
I didn't either. So, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years?
Why they took it out.
Anybody in the background there know how long the fire pit lasted? The voice of historian Brian Ritter?
They have the photos of the fire pit. Oh, no,
Okay.
they don't. Here's the fire
It's,
pit.
that image was identified, it's after the additions that were added in 1970, 71. And so it was still in existence then, but beyond that, nobody knows. We cannot find any record anywhere of it being removed.
Okay, this is taken from south and
Point
west.
that way a little bit.
It's glare.
Looking
No, the other
down.
way, the other way.
Point like this?
Yes, good, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
Looking down from the
Yeah.
garden area. But people would use, I don't know where they got the firewood, maybe construction.
Well,
Firewood.
when did this become the J Cafe?
Eucalyptus, all these trees.
Yeah.
What year?
Late 70s?
It was 80, 81,
and
and it became the Che.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it became Shea after I had left.
Are you pretty sure about that summer of '68 number? Because I arrived in the fall of '67. And my recollection, and it could be a year off, was that the fire ring was here when I got here. And some older student told me they had worked on the fire ring that summer.
Well,
I don't know if I'm you or somebody else. but it was
Take the
actually-
credit away from you
Well,
guys?
I-
Okay.
you came down August of '67 and wasn't here
Right.
then. Trust me, I do know this. I remember building it with him.
Yeah.
Two of us worked on
We
it. It had to be
It could've been
68.
It had to be
68.
68. Let's just decree today, April 18, 2017, that it was born summer of
That's right.
68.
Yeah.
It sounds like a
The
song.
fire pit.
We have two authorities here.
Okay.
Well, we're precipient eyewitnesses. The evidence code says that's relevant.
So,
I have some other things that might jog your memory. This is from some of the student newspapers. You want to look at these?
The winner of the, okay, this says, and the winner in the best food production category, the Coffee Hut, and this has got to be a reference to Holly Holmes.
Yeah.
Holly Holmes
He was
was.
bigger than that.
Shall we say? Bigger than
He
life.
was taller, too.
He was blustery. He just ran the place the way he liked it. Who ran Hurdle? Alan Blackstone?
Yes.
Al was a
And then
business manager,
When
right?
they really got in trouble, they wheeled out Harold Urey and other faculty to defend the coffee house.
Stick up for him.
Seemed to always be a kind of a battle going on with food service over the coffee hut. They wanted to either take it over or get rid of it.
Well, the coffee hut was run by AS, right, Associate Students?
Yeah.
You want the light on?
But,
The fan?
No, the sound down.
Okay, let me ask Greg.
Sorry, let's just take a quick break here.
Mike Nelson, he's no wife.
Do we need to
Well, he was
What's he doing?
He was spring.
No, we just need to speak up.
He ran for office.
I heard he became a birther.
He had a coffee company and he ran for office a couple times. I think he didn't win though.
Yeah, he became very reactionary.
And the funny is, he's very, very conservative,
Yeah,
extremely conservative.
yes, very so.
I have an area where one night Ernie Morton and I were sitting in the Revelle Provost office. And all of a sudden, all the glass starts breaking and bricks coming through. And we were hiding under the desk. I, to this day, think Mike knew who did that. Last time I saw him, he wasn't talking.
But apparently, I saw
I
another
don't think he
reference
did
in
it,
a
but I
Triton,
think he knew who did.
in a Triton Times article that he was in charge, after getting elected as president.
Right.
His references or whatever referred to him as being in charge of entertainment at the coffee hut.
That sounds about right, but Brian, it was loosey-goosey. It's
Yeah.
not like there was a real
I
structure.
understand.
It was Revelle College, it was the late 60s,
Yeah.
you know? There wasn't,
Dan Spelling's got that. Dan Spelling. But he put
Dan
big-
Spelling.
Yeah, but he put big, it was big
Dan
in
Spelling?
big groups and stuff. Theoretically.
Yeah, he went big.
Dan did the big, I mean, he
Yeah.
brought John Sebastian to the gym after the gym was built.
Didn't he bring Ike and Tina Turner?
I think he
Yeah.
might have brought Ike and Tina Turner too. And then went off to do that up in LA, which is what he did for a living for years and years.
Wearing his bib overalls.
There were also, I was here, me and my brother John in '69, and we would attend some of these folky stuff here. And our recollection is, I can't remember, two of the local big names in folk and so forth, the guy who wrote Peaceful Easy Feeling,
Oh, yeah, Jack
and
Tempchin.
then the other
Jack
guy,
Tempchin.
who was that?
Jack Tempchin.
Jack Tempchin wrote
Jack
that.
Tempchin, he would play here. Both me and my brother saw him, just, come in for a small group. And then also,
Sam
Old
Hinton.
55, who wrote that one? Tom,
I'm sorry, which one?
Old 55?
Tom Waits.
Much better,
Tom Waits.
Tom Waits.
Yeah.
He also performed here. This was before they had even had any followings. Maybe Tempchin did, but.
That's why I don't remember, because I didn't know they were gonna be big.
Yeah. It just-
I was cooking burgers.
My brother comes back and he goes, oh, these guys are great, So I just wondered if you,
Well, remember too,
No,
there are very few venues back then.
yeah. I also have another issue. I'm trying to bring up some of the historical stuff because part of what we're using this information for is to establish the background for having it historically preserved. When I arrived in the fall of '67, there was a big to-do immediately about the loss of access to the Revelle cafeteria. Okay, because they closed it off because they had this new closed eating system. So just people in the dormitory or people who paid money could come in. Prior to that, previously, it had been the central social focus. Everybody would come and go there. And then when that happened, there was a big to-do, and I remember all these, rallies and so forth about opening the cafeteria back up. But it was at this same time I felt that function, that social meeting function, moved to this area. And I don't know if you guys noticed an increase. Well, if you just started in the fall of '67, you wouldn't have noticed the difference from one year to the
Well,
next.
Sam and I
I
were
can
here
give you some
66.
perspective on the
Were you working in
cafeteria
66?
closing. When Revelle opened, we're gonna have this, the plan was to have an open place where graduate students and undergraduates could have coffee, blah, blah, blah. Well, what was happening is all the graduate students were free riding on the meal tickets of the undergraduates, and the food provider was going bonkers
Right.
and wanted to change. And I don't know if you remember Sheldon Schultz in physics.
Oh, yeah, he came with the Schultz.
Shelley came to me and he said, why is it that you have one meal plan for guys who eat 2 steaks and, more than they need, and the girls are eating a salad and all that? Why don't you have a variable meal plan? Well, that was radical stuff at that time. Usually you had a food service, you all went through the cafeteria like the army, you ate while it was there.
Right.
But Sheldon, really a good guy, instead of just saying, well, here's an idea, you go take care of it. He said, we'll go have whole open meetings. I know you remember in the Gravel cafeteria, he went and talked to the food service people. And they actually did. And as far as I know, it might have been the first variable meal plan in the country. And then it, now you can eat anywhere, everywhere with the curtain. But that was both the reason for the Huzzarah over the food service, and how it came to have a variable meal plan was Shelley
Right.
pushed it and pushed it. If you know Shelley, he could push pretty good when he wanted to.
Did you notice if there was any increase in traffic to the coffee hut as a consequence of that? I know that's a very specific thing to ask.
No, I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, okay.
I actually didn't have anything really to do with the coffee hut, other than to
Yeah,
come down your
just be
deep
here,
and
yeah.
to
Build the
help,
fireplace.
do things like that. But it wasn't anything or even Rebels at the college, even the provost was administrative responsible for.
I mean, it was an AS facility.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
But I think Holly Holmes would go to Al Blackstock, our business manager, and say, oh, I'm getting harassed or need some help. And it was kind of an informal arrangement. But so I didn't have anything to do with the daily operations of the place.
Were you still around when the coffee hut closed? Remember any of that?
I was probably on campus, but
Yeah.
I wasn't in Rebel. No.
Okay.
What year did it close?
It was closed for about a year, maybe, while they were deciding what to do with it. It was originally considered possibly a faculty club. They didn't seem to be real excited about that. But
You can see why.
The students proposed making it a co-op, a vegetarian or healthier foods. It was at the same time as the other co-ops were being established in the early 80s. That new student center, the first real student center, was built at that time.